Hello, Cheapario here, and today we're going to be playing Power Rangers Super Legends in this arcade style. So, Super Legends is a PlayStation 2 game. Came out on other consoles as well, but this was a 15th anniversary celebration released by Disney in line with the 15th anniversary that played coinciding with Operation Overdrive. So this was supposed to be a celebration of the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, the Power Rangers, the entire series up until that point, bringing in all past Rangers, as you can see on the back of the box. You've got Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, I believe Ninja Storm, you've got Operation Overdrive, you've got Lost Galaxy in there. Now, I'm going to be playing it in this arcade format. This is an Arcade1up shell. The original PCB has been taken out. 17-inch monitor has been put in. The arcade deck has been replaced with an Intec Gaming arcade stick, arcade deck, as you can see here. So the original arcade deck has been pulled out. This has been put in as a third-party USB controller. The PS2 is back inside of the arcade. And again, this is a 17-inch monitor that's been replaced from the original monitor that was inside. So we're going to play it like an arcade game. This is one of the few PS2 games that uses the D-pad for movement. Besides some of the arcade games, some of the arcade fighters on PS2, very few PS2 games use the D-pad for movement. Most of the PS2 games just use your analog stick for movement. And that's an important point if you want to play Power Rangers in this arcade type of style, because many of these USB arcade sticks are just kind of matching to the D-pad. They're not recognizing the analog stick. So this works great with the arcade stick, with USB wireless arcade sticks. We're going to test this out on Super Legends, and I'll tell you how it goes in terms of the quality of this game. So without further ado, let's get into some gameplay.
So I'm currently playing this game with the Intec Gaming PS2 adapter. So this wireless adapter connects to your PS2, and along with the Intec Gaming arcade deck, which is a wireless USB option, connects with the wireless adapter on the PS2, and I can play this game in this arcade style. So I fired up the PS2 game, Super Legends, and this game honestly is anything but super. This game celebrates the entire lifespan of the Power Rangers up until this point, that being Operation Overdrive. The story is pretty good in terms of it brings back Lord Zedd from Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. The story is that he kind of, after the power wave from Zordon's sacrifice, Lord Zedd became human. He became an archaeologist, and he discovered these time stones, and in looking at the time stone, he saw his evil former self, and then he kind of got corrupted again and became Lord Zedd. So Lord Zedd's whole mission here is to capture these time stones and manipulate reality. Now, one of the primary protagonists of this game is the Omega Ranger, who's from SPD. So SPD is one of the characters, one of the storylines in this game. It's one of the things celebrated in Super Legends. So you've got the Omega Ranger from more of a distant future from what we saw in SPD. I think he's probably in his 30s or 40s by my guesstimation in terms of this game. The Omega Ranger is trying to track down Lord Zedd, try to stop him from whatever his plans are, and that kind of starts the storyline of Super Legends, this battle between all the Power Rangers and Lord Zedd for these time stones. Now, again, the game is not memorable at all. It is a basic side-scroller that you get to play with all these Rangers across the seasons, but you don't get to play with all of them. You only get to play a select few. So even for Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, for example, you can only play as, I think, the Red Ranger, I think maybe the Pink Ranger, and the Blue Ranger. You can only really select between 3 or 4 Rangers out of each of these teams. And there's plenty of teams completely not even included here. I don't believe there's any Zeo Rangers, there's no Turbo Rangers. It's literally like, out of the 15 years that this game is celebrating of the Power Rangers series, I think 5 or 6 seasons are completely omitted from this game. And then also, in terms of having any of the actors reprise their roles, it's all new voice actors. And while some of these voice actors became famous for other games like Uncharted and things of that nature, they're not the original actors that played these characters, that played these Power Rangers in those seasons. So none of the characters sound like themselves. So going back to my earlier statement, this is very much a basic side scroller. I think that they were trying to emulate some of the classic gameplay of the SNES Mighty Morphin Power Ranger games, but it's completely missing here. It's a very boring game. And during this gameplay, as you'll see, I start off the game, its very first mission, Operation Overdrive. I'm playing as a Lost Galaxy Ranger. And in my very first tutorial mission, one of the characters kind of glitches out, and I can't get past this part of the tutorial because the character is pretty much frozen, and I can't do the next kind of stage of that tutorial to do kind of that uppercut was what they were asking me to do. So he's just kind of frozen in place, and he doesn't do anything. And because of that game-ending glitch, I'd have to restart and then start a new level, or just start up the game again. So it's a glitchy game, and even with these basic graphics, there's a lot of latency, there's a lot of slowdown throughout the game. So the game, even though it looks basic in terms of the graphics, it plays very basic. The game has game-ending glitches, it's got huge issues, and more often than not, it's just boring. And unfortunately, each of these levels is supposed to bring out the atmosphere, the characters, the villains, the hype of those respective seasons, but these levels really don't match anything of what happened in those seasons. When you're playing as Lost Galaxy, for example, you're kind of in a cargo bay, and it's very drab and boring, not really fitting of that Lost Galaxy series. So as you can see here, I'm playing the arcade stick, the Intec Gaming arcade stick, playing the PS2 on my Arcade1up, playing these Lost Galaxy levels, and taking down Shakina, whose likeness is not in the game. None of the Rangers' likenesses are in the game, which is unfortunate. The game, as I said, in terms of the basic gameplay, in terms of some of the issues I have with it, so each Ranger plays exactly the same. It's almost like a color swap. And even if the Rangers have different helmet styles, like for example, if you're playing as Billy, Billy should have a different helmet from Jason in terms of Tyrannosaurus and Triceratops, but it's just a color swap. So they have the exact same helmets. It's really just color swaps between the characters. They don't play differently. They don't play faster or slower. Their moves are all the same. It is the same gameplay, whether you're picking any type of Ranger. So it's really disappointing. You can collect different letters that spell out the name Ranger in each level, and then unlocks more Power Rangers, but because it's a color swap, doesn't really matter, doesn't change the gameplay, doesn't make the game any more exciting. And you do collect power-ups, these orbs that power up your lightning bolt, as you can see here on the top left hub, that allow you to do a super move once you've collected or filled up that meter. But again, it's kind of like a move that clears the screen of all the enemies. But beyond that, there's really nothing exciting or special in terms of each of these Rangers. So overall, a disappointing experience. Definitely one that you want to pass on, even if it is a celebration of Power Rangers. And there's not too many Power Ranger games that are that great. Would recommend, if you're looking for your Power Ranger fix, just play some of the more recent entries that appear on Switch, on PS4, and Xbox, that recent fighting game. But stuff like this is just better left to the history books, not kind of looking back on it and taking it out of its dusty PS2 box and firing it up for another quick gameplay. So that does it for me, guys. This is pretty much the game in a nutshell. Definitely doesn't touch the SNES Power Ranger games, which were the best in my opinion. Probably for me, some of the best games of all time as far as being a side-scrolling beat-em-up. Those original SNES games are the ones, if you're going to go back into the Power Rangers history books and kind of pull out good games from Power Rangers, the SNES games are definitely the ones that you want to take a look at. Well, again, that does it for me, guys. Please like and subscribe. Hope you like this little trip down memory lane, and I will see you guys next time. Like and subscribe. Bye, guys.